Welcome one and all to this table of inclusion set with music and candlelight. We've all traveled far and long to be here tonight. In fact, we have traveled our whole lives, each day, each year, over miles and miles to end up here with these people on this night. Let us now rest. Let us feel welcome and at ease. This is a wayfarer's inn. It is a refuge for travelers and a welcome home for those seeking warmth, community, connection in difficult times. As a playful and symbolic gesture, I invite you to remove all the dust from the road. Take it off your faces. Make sure your hair is feeling good. Brush your shoulders. Then take a deep breath. Let go of all the tension of all the days that have come. Let go of any stress or worry. Look to those around you and the few who are online. Smile. Be welcome. Know that this is a shelter from the noise and the stress and the din of the world. So be present here. Seek the holy. Open your hearts and minds, everyone. Do you want to go ahead and introduce our singers right now? So to be welcome, welcome each other. Now Larry's going to welcome some of our special guests who come to bring their voices. So now that we've welcomed each other here, now that we've brushed the dust of the road of our lives off of our faces, let us now listen to music about wandering. Both Kathy Lau and Lee Popst will play I Wonder as I Wander. Just as people did on the solstice evening, we gather this evening, this sacred evening, to celebrate the old Christian stories and the more ancient hope that resides within them. We seek the deeper meaning of our holiday motions. Here we rest and await the wonder of the season. So let us take time. Let us take time to make the slow journey across the burning desert as did the Magi. Let us sit and look for the stars as did the shepherds. The ancient Unitarian Universalist message is that for each of us there is a desert to travel, a star to discover and follow, and always a way of being within ourselves that we are trying to bring to life. May these moments together help us seek growing light in a time of cold and darkness. May this hour help us rekindle the Christmas flame, or the solstice light, or the glowing warmth of love in our hearts, giving new meaning and power to the well-worn traditions. May the lights of this service bear for each of us a living hope and a transforming faith. To light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalists gathered with the light of truth, amidst the community. I'm going to speak some words, and I'm inviting you to repeat them back. This chalice is a symbol of the warm hope. This chalice is a symbol of the warm hope that guides our community. Its light is an image. Its light is an image of the shining truth that awakens our minds.
The shining truth that awakens our minds.
Its small flame reminds us of the great love that calls to us. Its small flame reminds us of the great love that calls to us over and over again, drawing us together.
You put that on?
Please welcome the flame and one another by rising in your body as you're able, and certainly in spirit, sing "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear." I believe the words will be up here on the screen. There's normally 4 verses. But Unitarian Universalists, we like to change the words of things and move things around. Guess we did it this evening too. Edmund Sears wrote that song long ago to teach his children of his congregation, a Unitarian congregation. One Unitarian song, very obviously Unitarian, written by a Unitarian and remembered by others and sung every year. It was inspired in part by this ancient reading from the Gospel of Matthew, 2nd chapter of that Gospel, verses 1 through 12. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked the people, "Where is the one who's been born the King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose, and we've come to worship him." Now when King Herod heard of this, he was disturbed with all of Jerusalem because he thought he was king. When he had called together all the chief priests and the teachers of the law, he asked them, "Where is the Messiah to be born?" "In Bethlehem, in Judea," they replied. For this is what the prophet Micah had written. "You, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, you are by no means least amongst the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people, Israel." Then Herod called the Magi to meet privately with him and found out from them the exact time that the star had appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem, which is about 20 miles away from Jerusalem. That's not in Matthew's gospel. I thought I'd add it. Just so you know. And he said, "Go and search carefully for the child. And as soon as you find him, report to me so that I may go and worship him too." After they'd heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen, that star they had saw when it rose, went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw the star, they were overjoyed, and on coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. And they opened their treasures, and they presented him with gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod,
whatever happened to the
they
treasure?
returned to their country
Never says.
by another route.
I mean, they gave them to him, but
Now the choir will sing a song of the Carol of the Bells. Our 3.5-year-old tried to gain his parents' attention to see a shining star. He Parents were busy with time and schedules, the irritabilities of the day, and other worthy preoccupations. Yes, we see the star, now we're busy, don't bother us. On hearing this, the young one launched in through the porch door, fixed us with a fiery gaze, and said, "You be glad at that star." I will not forget the incident or his perfect words. It was one of those rare moments when you get everything you need for the good of your soul: reprimand, disclosure, and blessing. It was especially good for me, that surprising moment, because I am one who responds automatically and somewhat negatively to the usual exhortations to pause and be more appreciative of life. Fortunately, I was caught grandly off guard and settled into stillness. Let us now listen to the music of stillness. I have said it before. Without music, I am just a public speaker. With music, I become a leader of worship. It's beautiful music. Thank you. Have you ever been in love? Really in love? Head-spinning love? It's fun. Everything looks better. Most things seem wonderful, and one person in the world in particular glows like a star. It's a poetic line that says, "Who is this that appears like the dawn, fair as the moon, bright as the sun, majestic as the stars in procession?" In love, we see the world differently, not because the world is different, but because we are. Be glad. You be glad. When we're depressed, we see the same world as when we're happy. But our ability to see its beauty, to see its light, to feel and know that light is diminished, biologically diminished, but sometimes just by habit of thought. We cannot see the wonder. We cannot be glad. It must be demanded. There's a notion with some truth in it that we cannot command joy or happiness or appreciation or fulfillment. We cannot engineer the seasons of the soul or enjoin the quality of mood in another person or in ourselves. And yet, I do believe there is right and wisdom in that imperative saying, "You be glad. You be glad at that star." Note that in the Hebrew scripture it mentions the temptation over and over, mentions the temptation of the Jewish people in the Hebrew scriptures to worship the moon and the sun and the other stars. Job mentions at the time of creation, the morning stars sang together and the angels shouted for joy. Stars can be wonderful, messengers of hope and beauty, wonder. I see the bright lights. I think it's Venus that's over here and Jupiter that's over there, shining brighter than anything else. In the story about Jesus, after Jesus' birth, some wonder if it was a comet moving slowly across the sky that called the Magi, the watchers of signs, to come to Bethlehem. Was it a supernova, maybe, glowing suddenly and brightly and then fading away? Was it Venus at its closest to the earth ever in a clear winter sky? In the scientific age, we try to explain things away using science. But the theologians for centuries have said it wasn't a star, simply a star. It was an angel. It was an angel glowing, a messenger, a divine messenger. Because they're just as much parts of our tales, our folk tales, our magic stories as anything else. It might be something like a star. It might be something like a comet that serves in that story. It can be anything, really. Because the story is there to remind you, to look for the star that guides you towards something, and to feel just seeing the star. The wise men have this joy. And when the stars were made, the angels all filled with joy. An angel of the Lord, shining with light. Luke, in his gospel, says after Mary gave birth to her firstborn, a son, there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping their watch over their flocks at night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. It literally says this in Luke. They were terrified. That's not our usual assumption about what happens when you hear a bunch of angels shining in the sky. But they're terrified. They're worried. What's going on? But as Luke tells us, the angel comforts them and was joined by a big choir of angels singing, "Peace on earth, goodwill to all." And when the angels had left them and gone to heaven, the shepherds said, "Hey, let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has just told us about." So sometimes the messages of light can be unexpected. There may even be something disturbing, changing, or undermining what we have thought was so important. The messenger, the light, is calling us to something else. Like a little boy, a little child, calling on his parents to get their faces out of the checkbook and pay attention. There's a star up there and it's really bright. Be glad of all the wonders and the goodness. Be glad. If we cannot impel ourselves into a stellar gladness, we can at least clean the dust from the lens of our perception. If we cannot dictate our own awakening, at least we can turn our attention in the right direction, bit by bit, wake up. If we cannot guarantee a more appreciative awareness of our world, persons, of stars, of the simple joy of breathing, of taste, sweetness of the treats, if we cannot guarantee a more appreciative awareness of the incalculable gift of every day, Clark Dewey Wells wrote, we can at least prescribe some of the conditions through which an increased awareness is more likely to open up the skies for us and our children. Near to the very end of the Christian scriptures in the book of Revelation, Jesus says, "I have sent my angel to give you this testimony for all the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star." It's calling us to be glad at that star. As Reverend Sophia Foz wrote, "For so the children come. No angels herald their beginnings, no prophets predict their future courses, no wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind, yet each night a child is born is a holy night, as it was at the birth of each of us. Light coming into the world. We see the potentials and possibilities in every baby, the seeds of hope that may take months or years to sprout and bloom and sing. Each child is not necessarily a Messiah, but each bears hope and the magic of transforming love. So tonight, We gather to listen to the angels in whatever form they take, stars or babies or angry children. Those who are wise will shine with that brightness, the brightness of the heaven, and those who lead us will be like the stars shining forever and ever. I'm going to invite you all to rise again, body and spirit. Fill yourself with joy, and we're going to sing at least one verse of Angels We Have Heard on High. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for being together today. There's a mad farmer poet of Kentucky named Wendell Berry. And he wrote, "To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings." So now we'll turn down lights and honor darkness and rest, which knits up the raveled sleeve of care, as Shakespeare wrote. The death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, the balm of hurt minds, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast, darkness and sleep and rest. Our holiday schedules may have been busy. The demands of these days, elections and more, may seem overwhelming. Now it is time to rest. Now it is time to await the wonder of the hour, the birth of hope and peace and great abiding love. Invoke the darkness and sleep with these words. If you're one who prays, join with me in the spirit of prayer. O sweet spirit of sleep, sleep which brings rest and healing to weary bodies and the power of peace. Empty us of our aches and pains, for we sometimes struggle as seeds in unyielding earth. Bring us to the timeless nature of your presence, the wondrous peace of silence. Free us to know our dreaming, for there past and future are reconciled into possibility. In silence, bring us closer to one another, and for all that we hope to see. In the darkness and the quiet of this sacred place, on this sacred eve, let us be at ease. Let us be open to all that is good within and around the dark. So I invite you to come into a time of silence. Then we will sing another song. Into the darkness, we awaken light. I hope everyone has a candle, is ready to bring light. Hold on, and I will pass the light to you. The person who comes upon something that shines in their life, a truth or light, a religious idea that shines for them, and then tries to force it on others, is exactly like the person who tilts their candle towards others, spilling wax and risking burned hands. The true evangelist simply holds up their light and then lets others tilt in and take the flame and be illuminated. As we continue to pass the light, we will sing our candlelight hymn, Silent Night. We have gathered darkest nights of the year. From here on out, each day will add a whole minute to the time between the sunrise and sunset. Each of us can take what love and truth and goodness and joy we have found and share it with others and let it shine. Let us go into this Christmas Eve and then on into Christmas morning, days of joy and peace. Extinguish the flames. We have sand up here. No. All right. So you can carry the flame out into the night or you can blow it out. First, we're going to say these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the energy of these we carry in our hearts and embody in our lives until we are together again. You be glad at life. Thank you for being here.